आत्मा के ऊपर इन लोगों ने ध्यान कब दिया? कभी नहीं. They have never bothered about the spirit. You see, so we have to use some common language which speaks about Atma. English language is not sufficient enough, I must tell you. They do not have those experiences because you see, so far they have not gone deep into it. And we are very old people, ancient people. Our culture has been to know God, and everything has come in Sanskrit because Sanskrit is really a Devavani. Apart from that, when the Kundalini moves, she makes sounds. She makes different sounds, they are really Devanagari sounds. All of them are. On all different chakras they are. If I have time, I will tell you all those sounds that it makes. So our Sanskrit is really a Devavani, and even when you say mantras, then through the Sanskrit language or Devanagari pronunciations only, you can excite them better. Try to learn, if not Sanskrit, at least Hindi, because it's a more sort of a simpler language, and it being a phonetic language, you see, it has a sound, and that sound gives that vibratory effect. You try to learn it. Hindi is not my mother tongue. My mother tongue is Marathi. I speak Hindi because, after all, I know the importance of Hindi. I also know a little bit of English, and I speak in English also. So, it is better to know at least Hindi. It's not much when we can know a foreign language. We can know our own one national language. There's no harm in it. I mean, this I do not want to make it a political stuff, but what I'm saying that for conveying our Marathi is all right for me, Bangla is all right. I don't know much of Tamil or Telugu, but Telugu also, Tamil also, you can, because you see, we are people in this yoga bhumi. This is a yoga bhumi. This is a great country of yoga. You don't know every particle of this bhumi. You will be surprised. Is vibrating. You see, these scientists and all that cannot understand this. When we start accepting all that the West is saying, we are going to lose all that we had, which is so great. Of course, that is not going to be lost. But the thing is that we are not going to utilize it for our purpose. We have to close all that on one side. And we'll have to accept something which is just a foreign alien thing. And nothing so much comprehensive. You can say it is not samak. It doesn't envelop everything. So English language is all right. I can speak and I can talk to you and explain. But I would request you that little bit of Hindi language if you learn, it's a good thing. Because I find it very difficult. You know, there's one speech of mine they have written in English. And that was translated in Marathi. And what a tremendous thing it was. And in English, I think it's a poor show, absolute poor show. Maybe my English is very poor. Maybe that. I don't know. But maybe that. So, we were talking about Sat, Chit, Anand. Again, I have to use Sanskrit words. See now, what can I do? Sat, Chit, Anand is the super consciousness, the all-pervading power. Chit is attention, the consciousness. Conscious. You are just now conscious, listening to me. Every moment you are conscious. But every moment is becoming dead into the past. Every moment coming from the future to the present. But you are conscious at this moment, listening to. A thought rises like this and falls. You can see the rising of the thought, but not the falling of the thought. In between the thoughts, there is a space, which in Sanskrit we call it as vilamba. Of course, in English language there isn't because they haven't found it out. So there is a vilamba. And in that vilamba, if you can stop, then you get to the conscious mind. And there exists the Sat Chit Anand. Sat Chit Anand is the condition of mind, you can say, or is the state of mind where there is no thought but you are aware. First, there is no thought, nirvichar, but you are aware. That is the first state. where you jump into the superconscious. So some people may think that by realization you must achieve something as Adi Shankaracharya had. It's not possible. With some it may be, with very few, but not with everyone. First state is nirvichar. You become thoughtlessly aware. That's just the first state. That happens when the Kundalini rises above the Agya Chakra, means enters into the limbic area. At that time, your attention just touches the Sat point. The Sat. The reality separates from Mithya. You are separated. You become two personalities. At that stage, you start separating. Like in the milk, when you put yogurt, or you can say if you put lime, it starts separating into water and the curd. In the same way, the beginning starts. The beginning. This is the state where you can say the Kundalini has been awakened only. We must understand the different stages as it happens. I am giving you a very slow picture. But normally the Kundalini shoots off in most of the people. But in some people it does not. It takes time. It is lost in the Swadhisthana. It is lost into the Nabi. It doesn't go much higher. It is arrested by Hridaya Chakra, or maybe it may not even rise at all. But in case it crosses this door of Agya Chakra, then you get into the state of thoughtless aware. With thoughtless awareness, as like whatever state you get, supposing you become a governor, so you get a certain power. With that, you get certain powers. But at this state, to leave the Kundalini is not a good thing. Because the Kundalini can at that stage start moving this side and that side, can possibly, so can go to the supraconscious or can go to the subconscious, collective subconscious. The siddhis people get mostly at this stage. Some of the, not the Shudra siddhis, but the higher siddhis, like you see, they can predict. They can say this is going to happen if the Kundalini has moved to the supraconscious. If the Kundalini has moved to the collective subconscious, then they can start seeing things. You see, a person who is like that, he comes to me, he can see who I was in my previous lives. I do not have to convince them. This is the same thing as anybody who is possessed gets. A person who takes drugs, supposing he is a real alcoholic of the last word, and is a good soul, he is still seeking God. Such a person can see me in a different form. He can see my past. He can be very much enamored by me. He would know that I was, because you see, people think the past is greater than the present always. Because the past has been much greater than today's. Though I have never given realization to anyone previously. But it was a great past. Because human beings are like that. So, he gets enamored when he sees things like that. This happens with people who are on the supraconscious level if they move out. If they move out, this happens to people if they move out onto the left hand side, that is into the past. Those who move out on the right hand side can see me as light. They see light. They see all the 5 elements. They can see me as a waterfall or an iceberg. they start seeing the tanmatra. Now again the Sanskrit word means a casual, we can say the causal essence of the elements. It may help them to get convinced, because such a person gets convinced about me, no doubt. Such a person is much more convinced than you are. Now there are so many tantrikas who know who I was, they are afraid of me, they talk about me, they tell about me. There was an ordinary maid servant who came to my program and she got into this. She started speaking Sanskrit and she described me completely, 15 shlokas she said. First time I never said anything about myself. That's how it started. So at that stage, I would not like to leave your Kundalini, because you can cure people. Curative can be done with your Kundalini, is even in the limbic area. I am very anxious always that it should come out of the Brahmarandra. At that stage, you start getting the vibrations. But at this stage, you are just a chitta only. And you just touch Sat point. Your attention is only charmed by the spirit. Only the attention part. Spirit, as I told you, is like a flicker of light in a gas lamp. And Kundalini is like a gas which touches the spirit, and the light of the spirit spreads in the central nervous system. But only the chitta part, the outer core is the chitta, means the attention part. At that stage, when the Kundalini opens the Brahmarandra, at that time what you feel is the vibrations from your hand, and you can feel the another person also, because you become collectively conscious. Collectively conscious only. Again, out of the Sat Chit Anand, you just touch the Chitta person. So you start feeling the Chitta of your Chitta becoming the Chitta of the collective consciousness. Means you drop into the ocean of Sat Chit Anand, in which you only feel the collective consciousness. That means you can feel another person's Kundalini. Yesterday there was another gentleman, as you have seen it, he was arguing with me that we have suspended intelligence and all that. I said, what is this suspended? I don't know about this thing. So I told him, he said, I am in a Turiya Dasha. I said, if you are in Turiya, you can feel the Kundalini of another person. You cannot certify yourself like that. Can you feel the Kundalini of another person? He says, no. Then I said, how can you be in the Turiya? If you go into Turiya, that means if you cross this stage, then you have to feel the Kundalini of another person. Now you have seen there are many who can feel it. And they all say the same thing, the same language. Whether they are English, Indians or anything. They say the same thing, that his chakra is, this chakra is catching, that chakra is catching, it is not. Because you start seeing your Kundalini, you start seeing the Kundalini of others. Because on the fingers you can feel it. You can feel it on the fingers, what is happening. So you just feel the Chitta, not the Ananda part. First stage is only Chitta. That you feel the Kundalini of another person. You can raise the Kundalini of another person. You can give realization also after a little while to another person. Of course, my photograph has to be used, but still you can. But the Ananda stage is not yet touch. So in the beginning you just feel the cold breeze in the hand. You feel the peace, tranquility also. There's no thought. You feel the thoughtless awareness. But the Ananda part is not felt at the first outset. Because now I have studied thousands of human beings and I have seen their problems, and this is a fact. But there are some, as I have told you, who reach the last stage. Very few, very, very few. But among us we have here one or two people whom you can say who have reached that stage also. They are not aware of it, perhaps, but Anand they can feel. So the first stage when you come, it is the Chitta stage, the consciousness stage. You touch the Sat, means you start seeing the reality, is one thing that you are flowing. There's something flowing. Then you start saying it's going, it's coming. Just now you said it's coming. You didn't say I am receiving, I am giving. That I goes out of your language. But still the ego and superego are not completely gone down. They are still there, but your attention has come up and you feel the Chit. With this collective consciousness, you can cure people. You can give them realization, as I told. And also, you can feel the Kundalini of any person in the whole world. And also you can cure the Kundalini of that person. I mean cure the, not the Kundalini, but I am saying the cure the chakras or improve the chakras of the other person. Sitting down here, you can do. You can tell about the condition of the Kundalini of another person sitting down here. If you take interest. Wherever your attention goes, it works. Chitta. So your attention becomes universal. Your drop of your attention becomes one with the ocean of Satchitanand. Out of that, the attention part only. Listen to me for this very carefully, because many people at this stage drop out. Only the attention becomes effective wherever they put attention. Sitting down here. Now I'll tell you about a disciple of mine who has come from England. One day he was sitting and he was thinking of his father. Suddenly he got a burning on his finger. This finger. So he rang up his father. He said, how are you keeping? So the mother said that he's very sick, he has got throat trouble. This boy did something to his finger and all that, the father got all right. He can do it. Now, he might think he is very powerful. He does not. He does not. He cannot think that. He cannot think. You see, because the hole has been made there. So he just says, mother, I felt it and I did like this, and he was all right. He never says that I cured. I goes out. In the language, in the words that you don't say I did it. You said it came, it went, it did. It's not coming up. You'll say, even then, you will also say this, mother, today my agya is catching. Mother, my heart is catching. They come and say like this about themselves. Now say agya is catching means it's little maddening. But one doesn't feel bad about it. Because he's not attached to his Kundalini. He's attached to his chakras, but to his Atma. So he says, as an Atma, he says, oh my, this chakra is caught. That chakra is caught. A person now who is suffering, say, from cancer, does not know he is suffering from cancer. But a realized person who gets his realization, his attention will tell him that these chakras are out of gear. And so many chakras out of gear means cancer. He need not go to the doctor, he can diagnose himself. But he will not diagnose the way the doctors do, that you have got the cancer of the heart and cancer of this thing and cancer of that. But he will say it is these chakras are part of the left or the right. Now from where it is coming, how far it is going, he can give the depth of the chakras. Because the chakras start from here to here and this is the void. So the depth of the chakras he can tell you, it is from here. She's catching from here, she's catching from there, she's catching from there. But there are many abstract things that happen. This is a very important thing. Once you get a realization, the Chiranjivas surrendering, they are what you do now. You become their responsibility. All the deities are awakened in you. If you do anything against the deities, immediately they'll give you a hit. A person who has got realization, if he goes in a place which is not to be seen or which is not to be felt, which is not a good place, or a guru or somebody like that, immediately he will feel heated up. If he doesn't run away, if he still goes on and on and on, he'll lose his vibrations and he'll become just like the other person. So it's a very transitory state, still I would say, because still at this point, the repulsion is not so great that the man does not accept it. Because if you accept it, you become just like that. If you do not accept it, that maybe little bodily problem you might have, you might little burn your fingers or might get little burning here or something like that. But if you are not afraid of these bodily things, and if you do not want to accept it, then you start rising higher. But as I told you, all the Chiranjivas start guiding, looking after. If there is one realized person in a train, there cannot be an accident, and if there is an accident, nobody will die in that train. If a realized soul,
they can be wounded.
Huh?
They can be wounded.
Oh, wounded can be. But so, you see, we remember we have seen of one incident where it happened. They were so slightly wounded that they didn't take them to the hospital, any one of them. I mean, little bit scratching might have been, but that's what they told me. There was one realized soul who was traveling by a train which collided near Thana or someplace. Then if a realized a soul is walking on the road. Now realized soul who is totally nirvichar, I'm saying. You see, we have to grade them. Walking on the road. And if he sees a mishap, his attention goes there. Immediately the mishap is averted. Bekta? Yes. If he sees a mishap, then it is averted. Attention. You see, his attention, he's been blessed. Now, this is for a scientist cannot understand.
But he is guided by internal God. Then he can't do anything by himself.
No. The internal gods are his own part and parcel. As you can say, I am guided by my brain, so I can't do anything else. You see, gods are your internal parts, yourself. What is self left then? What is yourself?
Unite.
When you are united with that, then you are finished now. You become a hollow personality. Then you do not have this feeling of self. Then all the time what you say, it is happening, it is going, it is flowing, it is working. It. You can even say like this. This little girl says, Pragya. She says, this Pragya won't go. She is very obstinate. Just now her Agya is caught, so she won't go. She stands outside from herself and she criticizes herself. She said, her Agya is caught, she won't go. She is very obstinate. She is not Pragya. Even children say like that many times, if you notice. Like a third person. You start looking at yourself as a third person. You do not identify yourself with yourself. It happens. You will see these people, how they are working. Then also there is a part of little enjoyment, which you must know, the joy, Anand. You see, normally you will find most of the Sahaj Yogis will gather around a person who is a realized soul, who is realizing, who is not a difficult person. Moreover, if there is somebody who comes on my foot, who is a very great soul, I'll tell you, in Calcutta I went there. And I was staying in a hotel. And there was a very nice man who came to see me. He was not realized, but a very saintly person with a great Purva Sampada, you see. And he just touched my feet. And other Sahaj Yogis with other rooms. They all rushed there. I said, why did you come? He said, great joy started coming within us, so we came. And they were standing, he was all the time on my foot. And they were standing. I said, neither he is going to leave me, nor you are going to leave me. For 15 minutes, he was just drinking the nectar of my feet, and they were enjoying his nectar and the fragrance of it. So the joy of enjoying another human being also starts. So the three things, how you enjoy Nirvichar Samadhi, as they call Samadhi, doesn't mean going into unconscious, but the unconscious become conscious. Whatever is not yet conscious becomes conscious. The unconscious, the universal unconscious, becomes conscious. So this is the first stage when it takes. There are many things like this and variety of things happen. Supposing you have been doing a lot of light puja, what we call the Jyoti puja in your previous life. Then you can see this thing, vibrations. There are 2-3 people here who can see my vibrations coming, going. They see all the movement. Supposing you have been doing Devi Puja. Say you are a Devi Puja. You have a sampada of that, of a Devi Puja. Then you see something of Devi's Pramana, as you can say. You can see that also. That is a better thing than to see before. Because if you see before realization, means you are a possessed person. Somebody is giving you ideas. After realization, you start seeing certain things. Then it has some meaning. So the gradual growth of the flower starts. Then the second stage where you become nirvikalpa, where there is no vikalpa. Just now in Delhi there are very few who are like that. Very few. Because first of all by temperament they are vikalpis. The reason is here is a complete atmosphere of vikalpa. If you say something, another will pull you down by saying something else. So the thing is, the whole atmosphere is so vikalpi that you are not yet settled about it, about the Sahaja. Still in vikalpa. But we have some very great Sahajogis also in Delhi, very great. So the vikalpa is there. Now you will say, how do you become nirvikalpa? Supposing you are in the water, you are afraid of getting drowned. You are picked up and put in the boat. So you are not afraid of becoming drowned. But when are you settled? When you are settled. I mean, it is such a state that when are you settled in a boat? When you are settled in a boat. I mean, that's how I can answer it. You have to be settled. But with that, you get certain powers. Your Kundalini starts showing. You see, we have in Bombay some people whose Kundalini is at least 1 foot higher. 1 foot high. You can see. You can or may not, but so many people can see that. And they are a very deep people. Very deep. At the Nirvikalpa state, the collective consciousness becomes very subtler. At that stage, you can understand very deep significances of things. And the reality starts becoming clearer. For example, you start understanding the working of the Kundalini. You start understanding how it penetrates. You start understanding how it works out. You can use it for experimentation with your own hand. You can move it as you like it. You can cure people and you can show the Kundalini is working in different ways. You can combine and permutations and combinations of Kundalini you can do. You can say that in the first year of music, you just learned the 7 notes and 2 other notes, just that. And ordinary ragas. But when you grow subtler and higher, then you know all the minute points, how to create. So at the Nirvikalpa, you need not put your hand towards a person, nothing, sitting down, you know where it is. What is happening? Who is catching? What is the problem? What is the collective problem? Then you have no doubts about Sahajog, nor about Kundalini, nor about anything, no doubts at all. But at that time you start experimenting with it. You start using it. Mastery starts. At this stage, the chitta, the consciousness becomes subtle. Now somebody was sitting with me. Outside they knew that this gentleman is going to get realization. They knew that mother was giving realization to someone. Such people are very satisfied people. They do not grudge and grumble about small things. They do not enter into small things at all. They are not bothered. They live in a big way. They are not touched. Their attention is in the gross. They have no time for outside gross things. So their attention is very deep into the subtle forms. They are not bothered. Such people are satisfied souls. Such people are the ones who are going to create a pillar for Sahaja Yoga. Because when somebody sees such a person, a transformed person like that, shocked, says, look at this man. He's such a great person. And he was such a horrid man, and how has he become like this? How is he transformed? At this stage, at the Nirvikalpa stage, the vibrations emit. Then you can sit with me now. You start. Then there is no questioning at all. And such a man can get into a terrible temper if he sees somebody misbehaving with me. Can't bear misbehavior with me. Christ said, forgive all those because they do not know what they are doing. But supposing they had done anything against his mother, he would not have forgiven even this much, I can tell you, even this much. And in the Bible it is written that nothing will be tolerated against the Holy Ghost, and Holy Ghost is his own mother, is the Adi Shakti.